Hey, welcome, University of Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Dr. Dane Andre with our distinguished professor, Kilonomics. What's going on, bro? How you feeling?
Feeling good, feeling great because the past week is behind us. Had my struggles, lost in every single league. Actually, I tied in one, right?
Mm.
Nice big pink ribbon.
I thought I was going to win that matchup.
I,
Matchup
I
was
thought
happening. I don't know.
I,
I mean, my team ain't got had no business trying to compete in that matchup, but it was coming down to the wire for some reason, and I thought I actually went to sleep thinking I won that matchup, and woke up looking at a tie. I was like, okay.
man, I was just as confused as you were, man. I started Sunday morning like, damn, I'm about to lose all my damn matchups. So what I do? Delete the app. Can't have that negative energy, man.
Yeah.
Gotta get forward and start the research process and get ready, for week 13 across the leagues because we're getting really close to that playoff time, man. It's getting really close to playoffs.
That was almost my first week winning all my matchups, but uh, you know, I'll take four wins and a tie.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's I think probably my best week so far, which is means nothing in a couple of leagues and uh, means everything in
Yeah,
the
so
in other leagues, especially the association, man. We
what's
had
going on, Mr. Leader?
oh, well, oh yeah, oh me. Uh, yeah, man. It's good. It's good to be me these days. In some ways, but yeah, man. It was a interesting week. Nothing too crazy, but we had some things happen. Um, week 12 is in the bag. I'm sorry, week 11 is in the bag. Week 12 is coming up. No, wait.
Week 12, yeah, we just the all-star. The all-star is still
Yeah.
clouding the brain, man.
Week 13 is coming up. Week 12 is just passed. Okay, got it. Okay. um, yes. So that. Um, yeah, it's time, man. It's time that we do some power rankings. We haven't done our power rankings since week 6, going into week 7. So we gave it a little time to breathe, and now we're back right before the last few weeks, last push for the playoffs. So we want to let people know where they're at. So I guess before we get to that, we'll look at a really quick um, recap of what happened in week 12. Week 12, right? Yeah, week 12.
Yeah, we try.
um, so you see the board. We pretty much got everything more or less. Well, yeah, not everything, but
Scenarios like, I mean,
a couple of
look at the Gotham Dames. We didn't expect them to win 7-2 without, their superhero, Joel Embiid,
I'm actually
man.
I'm actually mad about that because coming into Saturday, coming into Sunday, I looked at that matchup and I was like, "Yo, I have a chance to win 9-0."
Mhm.
Um, Tobias Harris and Julius Randle committed 9 turnovers combined, maybe 10. I didn't check the final score, but committed 9 turnovers on Sunday and took that opportunity away from me. And then Robert Williams, man, you know, he was playing so well up until Sunday, but he gave me a little baby stat line. And I was like, come on, bro. You can't give me 2 blocks, 3 blocks, something like that.
Yeah,
So,
Robert is up and Robert is down, man. And that's why Harris and Randolph both can't be all stars, man. You only get one. That's why only one All-Star, man.
Yeah, I was bigging Harris up, man, and watching that Knicks game on Sunday, I was like, yo, Harris looked like he getting paid to, to lose his game because he was just like stumbling and fumbling the ball. Like I didn't know what was going on with him. Like missing free throws, 2 free throws in a row. Like this is a guy who's a 50, 40, 90 guy for this
Mhm.
season, I think. And well, not I guess not after that game, but anyway, man, so yeah, I mean, I'm happy we won, but I don't think I was expecting to win quite, that dominantly. So shout out to us for that one.
Mm.
Frankfurt and Amherst. Uh you went with Amherst for this one, but what did you see anything?
Nah, Amherst just can't be trusted, man. Just, just cannot be trusted, man. F17 is flying high. Man, that's what happens when you got a bunch of the young guys. The young guys, when they get it going, man, they're tough to beat. I know Anthony Edwards. He's been putting on a show. Had his career high.
Mm,
I think was last week.
mhm.
Oh man, yeah, he's picking up steam, man. He might walk away with rookie of the year now that we unfortunately got the young boy LaMelo,
R.I.P.
suffered the fractured wrist, man. That sucks.
Yeah, rest in peace, brother. And I guess that brings us to the next matchup. The Bombers did their job and they took care of the Kings. LaMelo out, Curry's out. Bam is back, but with a couple of their leading guards not playing. I mean, we didn't think they would win, but still, it definitely was gonna. I thought it could at least been interesting.
Hmm.
But yeah, Beantown took care of business, so shout out to them.
Yes. Continue to keep it rolling, and better than a 5-4.
Yeah, Christian Wood came
Uh,
back. Looks pretty good so far, right?
mhm. Yeah.
No KD yet. No KD yet, but hopefully in a couple of weeks. I don't
Mm,
know. But
man.
Vane continues to look good. Halliburton looks good. Kyle Lowry playing well still. Yeah, they're rolling. Um,
That's a
Celtics,
good. And True Grit.
yeah. So
I'll tell you what, man. I was looking at that matchup on Sunday. This was before the Dallas game,
yeah.
and True Grit was actually winning the matchup, like 5-4. And I was just like, see, this is the shakiness I've been talking about. This
Mm-hmm.
is the shakiness, right? And as soon as those words came out my mouth,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't even really get to marinate. Like, I was watching, like, I think it was the third quarter, and like Luka had like a career high in the amount of threes he was hitting. He was like at 8 or 9 and just shoot step backs from all over the court.
Yeah, man. Luca,
Look back over the score, and it's a brand new game.
Luca in that Mavericks game, man, he threw a couple of no look passes for 3-pointers that made me just kind of like, you know, I'm just gonna say I got real excited. I'm not gonna be profane on this session right now. I'm gonna just say that I got real excited, and it was a good look, man. I appreciate seeing what Luke has been doing out there. Um, Brooklyn Phoenix, man, did not come through. I told you, man, the Dame stop, man, they tricky,
Oh
man.
man,
They real tricky. I don't know, they find a way to win, and they look good doing it. What do you see in your matchup?
there's some bullshit. First of all, I had the mold or the mole in the lineup. Man, what's this fool's name?
Your
Um,
lineup?
yeah, what's this rookie off of? Nah, he's not even a rookie anymore. Goodness gracious. Um, I can't even remember this guy's name. You believe that? Bagley. Bagley. Bagley, right? Like, so he was part of the trade, right? This was
That
the
sounds like
whole
you need to drop
revenge
him.
matchup,
You
right?
don't remember his name. You need to drop him right now.
Nah, I can't drop him. His value is too cheap. You you know how you need like 12 or 13 roster spots and you don't remember the last 4 or 5 guys, but that you never know. That's untapped potential, right? They can just explode and everything just starts to click and everything starts running. So that's what I think of Bagley, right? He's in the refrigerator thing.
Look like
He's in the fridge.
you got sold a lemon that's in the fridge now. Huh?
Yeah, man, Bagley. But remember, I got a lottery pick, right? So I've got some young talent, which
Well,
which hopefully,
GameStop is climbing the ladder, man. That lottery pick ain't looking that great right now. So you gonna need GameStop to lose a little bit more.
nah, it's pretty much stamped, man. It's just he's just messing around with my odds right now. Like it's like, come on, man, just bow out, just tap 3 times. Like, come on,
Yeah.
give me a couple extra balls, and we can get more into that. But man, Plumlee was the game changer. He had like 4 steals on a Sunday, and I think he won about 2 or 3 steals, and so that kind of changed the matchup. I mean, either way, he was still going to win, but he was going to win his typical 5-4, not 6-3. 6-3 is uncharacteristic, right? And so I took that as disrespect, but I'm pretty sure he took it as disrespect, as the comments that I've been been saying the last couple of weeks. So
I'm sure I know he felt disrespected and he got a little payback. So shout out to him. Let's talk about the Titans and Rucker Park. I mean, nothing too surprising here. We know what this was. Rucker Park is coming for blood. They got their pieces together. They're making that run, not just for the playoffs now. They're looking to move up in the standings. So they took care of business last week. Did you see anything that caught your eye in this matchup?
Nah, man, Rucker Park, man, you're not gonna beat them most weeks. Like, you need players to sit games, etc. So
Yeah.
he just continues to roll, man. And that free throw percentage, man, that was before Kawhi, that was a category where you could count it as a W against Rucker Park, but no longer.
Yes,
So.
that's the thing I was gonna say, man. Giannis was shooting like I think over 80% from the free throw line when I looked at him on Sunday. I was like, whoo. And then the fact that they're winning in that category now it just looks real creepy. I don't know what's gonna happen if that trend continues. It's gonna be very, very difficult to beat Rucker Park going forward if they're shooting that well from the free throw line. Cranston and Syracuse.
Get right. It's the get right matchup, right? That's what we said. It's the get right matchup. Cranston Killers has been struggling with health and had a couple of losses coming in, but this is the right matchup for him to get back on track.
Yeah, well said. They were slipping a little bit, and they needed this. They needed this bye week, and they got it. So time to get their minds together collectively, and boost their position in the standings a little bit. But it's going to be hard for them going forward. No LBJ. He's going to miss several weeks, according to reports. I saw that ankle sprain. I was watching that game, and I was like, that looks bad. He came out right after he rolled his ankle and like hit a 3. And then the next thing I heard, he was gone again. So, and he was pissed. I was like, oh, it looks bad.
Yeah, I mean, I gave my hot take last week, right? LeBron James, this is going to be the downfall. But man,
yeah,
I wasn't expecting it to come this quickly and because of an injury. So it's all kind of bad. It's all kind of bad, man, right? Because we don't know what it's going to do for him and if he's going to have to rush back, given the timeline to the playoffs, etc. So.
Yep. on to the money men in Solid State. Yeah, I thought Solid State should have been able to wrap this up. I thought it was going to be close, and um, turned out to be a pretty, pretty solid win for Solid State.
Mhm.
Would I know you went for Midtown. Is there something that went wrong on their end that you
Mm,
account for?
you just can't trust the Midtown money, man. Man, it's just like they were winning some matchups early on, and it didn't matter if games were played. Joker was just willing them, and even without CJ, but I think the luck has just caught up to them, and then it's been a weird mix now with they've been struggling with acquiring Turner, right? So they're getting Turner, and I don't even know if they're dominating in the block category. So it might turn out, that was a bad acquisition in hindsight.
Mm.
So it's something we should definitely, update folks on in a couple of weeks. But I don't know if Turner was quite the fit. I mean, I know he got did he get was no he got Oladipo in the trade, and Oladipo,
Yeah,
you
he got
know,
Turner, Oladipo, and Conley.
um, and two Oladipo and Conley, good luck trying to predict when they're gonna play.
Yeah. Oh,
So
well, Midtown Money Man, if you looking to move Turner, holla at me, man.
trade deadline coming up, fellas.
Coming up. Yeah. Well, that was the recap of week 12. Let's get to the thing that we really want to talk about in this week. We going into week 13, the power rankings. Um, take it away, man.
Fellas, what you've been waiting for, or fellas and ladies. My apologies. The power rankings. So,
Get the ladies,
you
man.
know, yeah, where are we? So, if you guys remember preseason week 1 power rankings, this is how Professor Dane Andre and Kilonomics consensus ranked, a bunch of the teams. You can see a lot has changed from week one into our week 6 ranks. For instance, in this week 1 rankings, only about 5 of the 8 teams are playoff bound teams. So I mean, we weren't completely off, but we were able to predict. We were able to predict. We were able to have some predictions that did bear fruit. And so, if we go into the next week 6 rankings of where we rank teams, you can see we started to figure out what teams were and what teams could be. So if you look at the top 8, I mean, those are the 8 teams that are going to make the playoffs, Dane.
Yeah.
Like, does that surprise you? Like, what do you think about our outlook? From
No, I
week
mean,
6 to where we're at now.
yeah, I mean, there's no real there were no real surprise teams that are in the playoffs, so to speak. I mean, what happened was you had Amherst, who made the huge trade with myself, Gotham Great Danes, and consequently have fallen out of the playoff race. And then you had a couple other players that dropped down a little bit, but for the most part, you know, it's pretty on par, I think, with where we were going. Give or take a few spots here and there. Frankfurt also made some trades and moved down in the standings a bit. Injuries have happened, and a lot of things were going on at this time. So some people went up, some people went down, but for the most part, we called it pretty well.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's get into the bottom half of the association ranks, and let's talk about some of the things that we see. So no surprise, we've got Amherst Speedsters and the Syracuse Sparrows down at the bottom, sharing the 15th spot. What do you think about both organizations?
Yeah, on paper, Syracuse is probably the less talented team. You look at the list of names, and they've got they're trying to be hopeful that several of those guys are going to turn into something. But as it stands right now, only one guy, probably Jeremy Grant, looks like the cream of the crop on that team, and that's just not going to be enough to really be a significant player for a while. So but with Amherst, looking at Amherst, they're the other team that's kind of struggled with some of the acquisitions that came about, and health and other things came up. But looking at those two teams, they're I don't disagree with your picks. I think they could easily be swapped. I see no reason why Amherst shouldn't be a little bit higher or placed higher than Syracuse. But when you look at the 6 weeks prior to week 11, they just when those two teams faced off, Syracuse actually was the one that came out the victor amongst the two. So, just out of respect to Syracuse, I just had to put them a little bit higher than Amherst. But for the most part, they're pretty much in the same spot. They should be competing for that top 3 pick.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Trivia question: who was the team that the Amherst Speedsters beat from week 6 to week 12? He only won one matchup. Who was that against? I'll give you a couple.
Was it Bimtown?
No, not Bimtown. I'll give you some options. Brooklyn Phoenix, Kings Landings, Titanes, and Rucker Park.
Think about this. Was it Rucker Park?
Nah, not Rucker Park. Oh. So Rucker Park, he got right against them.
I didn't think so.
It was the Titans. So Titans has been the only matchup that he won, which is reasonable, and it was a 5-4 victory.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, you've covered it well as far as where these teams are now, and kind of where they're going. Pretty much to the bottom they go. And next off, we've got True Grit, which is falling all the way down to the bottom at number 14. We both ranked them at 14, man. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, week after week, we keep looking at the roster and saying, it's looking depressing because each week, you're hoping to see Anthony Davis come back. You're hoping to see Jaren Jackson Jr. come back, and they're just nowhere to be found. They're still kind of healing themselves from their injuries. But, you look at Kobe White, he just ain't popping right now. Like I think you and I talked about him a little bit before we jumped on. But he's just not looking good, man. Like I don't know what to say about him, but he's not looking good. And I'm looking elsewhere on the roster, and again, I keep seeing the Oklahoma City Twins, Lou Dort and Bates. I'm like, nah, bro. The slide is just gonna continue from there, man. Like, you don't have your big guns in the lineup, and Valanciunas can't do it by himself, man. So, that's why I think I look at the next weeks ahead for True Grit, and I just don't see anything positive coming. So I had to give him that spot, 14.
Yeah, it's all downhill. It's all bad. I mean, the only matchup that they've won since week 6 ranks is against the Sparrows, man. And that kind of tells the story. And yeah, the future's not looking bright. Maybe it's time to call Simonas up, maybe start trading some of these assets, right? Because I think this season it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Wrap them up, zip it up. That's it for the Grit.
Yeah, agree. Jalen Brown is there, but again, Jalen Brown and Valanciunas is just they need some help. They need some help. So call him in now.
Coming now, and number 13, we got the Kings Landing, so they slide down, one slot. We both ranked them at the same position. What have you been seeing at the Kings Landing, since the week 6 ranks?
Yeah, I mean, not much else. I mean, they've done a good job adding more players to their roster and getting rid of some of the dead weight. I applaud them for that. But I think since that initial wave of ads, there hasn't been a whole lot more activity going on, and I think that's been to their detriment. So I think there's some more talent on the waiver wire that they could look to add, and they just haven't been able to really pull the trigger to make those moves. So that coupled with the fact that they're just constantly dealing with injuries, it's the story of their season. LaMelo Ball is just the most recent example of that. He's now out for some indefinite period of time, and that's just very concerning when you're looking at the future of the franchise.
And they continue to give us hope, man. In week 9, they knock off Solid State. Week 10, then Amherst Speedsters, and then they go back to what they're familiar with, right? And they pick up a pair of losses to the Titans and then the Beantown Bombers, and the future outlook is not looking good, the next couple of matchups, man. So I guess, this is this is a great time to catch some March Madness games, check out, some of these young, NBA prospects and, try to project where we think they'll fit and, how they'll come to the NBA.
We know that the Kings chairman and manager has a good eye and can scout out talent. So I guess he'll be watching a lot of March Madness going forward. There's nothing much else to monitor here.
Okay, next we've got the 12th spot. We got NYK Kleinike. He moves up 2 spots, from the week 6 ranks. We both, ranked them both at 12, man. What are your thoughts here with the Kleinike?
Yeah, they've proven to be a little bit better than they were showing early on in the season. But I feel like this is pretty much their ceiling, just because there's still some absenteeism going on with this franchise, and I see some moves to be made that just aren't really happening. So I think until that happens, I can't see them going much further than where they're going. I mean, Russell Westbrook has been really good. He just not good for this format. The turnovers and the field goal percentage are just kind of, but his field goal percentage is actually not even been the problem, right? He's actually shot pretty well. It's his free throw percentage that has hurt sometimes. And then he's got other talented players, but again, leaving guys in a lineup that can't give you anything because they're hurt, just not gonna really help you much. So 12.
Yeah, man. And I mean, it just speaks, right? Like I'm looking at his past matchups, man, and they're just all over the place, right? Win 7-2, win 6-3 against the Syracuse Sparrows, and then the Midtown Money, that was a big win. And then he picks up a pair of losses, right? Loses to the Beantown Bombers, then loses one to the Rucker Park, right? 3-6, 4-5, and then poof, there he is. Wins against the Frankfurt 17ers, 8-1, right? And then what happens? You're like, okay, Gotham Danes, no Embiid. Of course, NYK is going to bring home the victory. Of
Mm.
course, he doesn't. 2-7, right? And so, this describes exactly why,
Yeah.
we've got him where we've got him. Maybe he needs to bring on somebody else to the management team. Possibly, look at selling the franchise because I think there's just so much more that they can do with a lot of the talent that they've gotten. We've seen no trades from this franchise for the 8 years.
They got to get Phil Jackson out that office and bring in some. It's somebody's sleeping at the scout. Somebody's sleeping during the games, man. We can't have that. And you said it last week, man. You got it. You look at the history of the brands and the franchise history and what's been going on, and even though they've got talent and they look to be scary sometimes, at the end of the day, when you play in another quality franchise, I mean, you know, the record says it all. So it is what it is.
All right, so number 11, we got the Titanes de San Juan moving up 5 spots to number 11, man. So they were on the rise. We both ranked them at 11, man. What have you been seeing, out of PR?
Yeah, man, they looking good. This is a team that we ranked at the very bottom in the beginning of the year, man. They've shown the resilience and the fortitude to really power through some teams and win some tough matchups. And I think they've been a huge surprise in what they've been able to do. So I had to give them credit and kind of just keep boosting their status because they're winning matchups that coming into them we didn't really think they would win, and they've found a way to do it. They got their pair of all-stars with the Utah Jazz, and then potential sixth man of the year with Jordan Clarkson. And then, made some really good pickups that are really paying dividends in Boucher and PJ Washington. So they've got a bright future. And their rookie draft pick debacle is an interesting one, but we won't go there right now. Let's just say that
we'll save that for the off season.
Things probably could have been a little bit better too if certain rookies were a certain rookie was on this team, but I digress.
Yeah, man. I mean, right now it's playing the spoiler, right? That's really the Titanes' role. And they've got bragging rights. So we've got brothers in this league, and the Titanes was able to knock down both the brothers. This is the Beantown Bombers and the Cranston Killers. And I promise you, man, he will not let that one go, man. He will, wear a sticker, wear a T-shirt, have a badge, have a tattoo, whatever it takes, right? Like he can be, 15, 16. He is going to remind both those brothers, that he was able to beat them, in a season, where, they're, title contenders.
Right.
So he's annoying, man. He fights. So moving up at number 10, we've got the Frankfurt 17ers. So their name has changed since last we ranked them, but their spot hasn't. They remain at 10. We were both, strong in that conviction to keep them at 10. I know they had the trade. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a seesaw matchup. It's a seesaw kind of season for them. Every time you think they're down, they're up, and every time you think they're up, they're start to slide. So that's very reflective in their record. Hovering right around 500 at the time of this capture. So I kind of predicted it would be that kind of season, but the trades that they made kind of accelerated their slide or further ambiguous with their team, and So I think they're going to youth movement.
Mhm.
And but they still, to be even still around that play in position, it shows that they've got some talented players. So um I think they'll keep building, and then ultimately decide what they want to do moving forward. But yeah, I think they just because of their matchups and how they've performed, probably around 500 when you look at their last 5 or 6 weeks. Um, win one, lose one, win one, lose one, that type of thing. So no change.
Man, I tell you, man, if they didn't lose that big matchup to NYK 1-8,
Mm,
you know, they'd be dangerous, right? Rucker Park, and whoever else is at the bottom, of the playoff standards right now would have somebody, dead on their back. Um, this is a team that's got the pieces when they're healthy, right? His rookie Anthony Edwards is performing, at an unbelievable um, uh, rate and pace right now. Ever since that uh, that infamous dunk. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. Yeah, I don't see this team making the playoffs, but very promising for the future for sure. Number 9, to rank out the teams not in the playoffs, we've got the Dame Express. They're jumping up 3 spots, so they've been ascending up to the not in the playoffs slot all the way to the top at number 9.
yeah. So
Uh,
yeah.
what do you got going on there?
Yeah, well, I just know, first of all, like, you're gonna get a call from their league brand, their league marketing office, because I think they're the Dame Stop now. Um,
Oh,
so, so you might be getting a call in the morning, like, don't disrespect. You continue to disrespect this team, man, and
yeah. I mean, I like to pay close attention to the teams that are gonna be in the playoffs, right? Like those are the teams that we're gonna be competing against.
right. Well, nevertheless, this team is showing a lot of guts, man. They just keep finding ways to win tough matchups. They remind me of the Titans, but just better.
Mm.
And they've got Dame. They've made some really good moves. I'm wondering if maybe they made those moves a little too late. But and maybe if they had the team they have right now, maybe they would have been a playoff team by this time if they kind of had made those acquisitions earlier. But they're in the same position as the Titans. They're playing spoiler along with the Frankfurt 17ers. And they're a tough team. So I think if you gotta play them in these last few weeks and you're a playoff team, you might have to worry about your position and what's gonna happen to you if you're on your way out. If you're a bubble team and you gotta play this team coming up, that's not that you probably gonna have to sweat that one out, because you could lose.
Would you give them a non-zero probability of making the playoffs?
A non-zero probability of making the playoffs. I'm not even sure I understand what that means.
I'm sorry to throw out a question like that. Do they have a chance to make the playoffs in your eyes?
Meaning
That's a fancy way of saying, do
one,
they have a
you mean a
chance?
1% chance of making the playoffs?
It could no. It could be 0.01%. It could be 1/1000th of a percent.
You know, um, there's a really big gap between number 8 and number 9 right now in our standings, and I don't know that I expect things to change a whole lot in the next couple of weeks. but
You
I
don't
do.
understand the question, and now you're telling me there's a big gap. All right, I'm gonna let you continue. I'm gonna let you continue. I'm gonna let you continue.
um. So I'm saying there's a chance. There's a chance, and I don't know if it's a big one, but there's a small chance, and it might be very, very small, but
All right, that's what I'm looking for. All right, so now we're saying small chance. 10%,
less.
1%,
I'm comfortable with that.
1%.
Yeah.
So you take 100 to 1 bet.
If I was a betting man, I think, and I had to bet on one team to make it from this group, I'm going with Dame Stop.
All right, but you're not gonna bet.
Well, I'm not a betting man.
You're not gonna bet.
Not really a betting.
You got it. No, but yeah, but I mean, I think everyone gets the point. I mean, it's just a tall order for them to climb, right? They're 5 games back from Rucker Park, and Rucker Park is gonna take some injuries for
Yeah.
him to slow down. And then you look at who's number 7,
Yeah.
and he's, that's 7 games behind, and it's just the window is like shut, with only 3 weeks left.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
All right, so now let's get into the contenders. So now we've got the rest of, or the full power rankings, but we'll highlight the top 8 teams. So first, we're going to start with the Bimtown Celtics, which is sitting 7th in the standings right now. We both ranked them at 7, though they fell in the 8th position. What are your thoughts about the Bimtown?
Yeah, I mean, Bimtown is a scrappy bunch. They've got some players that you look at, and if you look at their roster, you're immediately intimidated. But as their record shows, they've they've had some big losses, and they've probably dropped a few that they shouldn't have lost, and it gives you reason to question, whether they're really I guess a true contender or not. So we know for sure that they're a playoff team, but we just can't tell how far they're going to go as a contender. So I think 7 is just where they are, considering the other teams that we're thinking about at this point.
Yeah, Bentown is such a tough team. One thing I will say about them is their floor is really safe. Like, they have a really high floor.
Yeah.
And it's, because of, the way that they've put together their roster. Yeah, it's like so many of the other teams, man. You can't really, you can't count them out, right? Like, I think I've tried that, and it's certainly come to backfire, and and I'm not doing it again. And so Bimtown is dangerous, just like the other 7 contending teams. So number 7, we've got the Beantown Bombers. They moved 1 spot down. This is finally a spot where you and I both, differed where they stood.
Yeah.
In the rankings. I've got them at 5. You've got them at 8.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking there?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, man, because this is a team that even since week 1, I've really struggled with, because on paper they look like such a strong team, but at the same time I see so many ways that things could go wrong. whether we're talking about people just falling off a cliff for whatever reason, health or otherwise. Which some of that we've seen that happen with Christian Wood, and we've seen that happen with Kevin Durant. But when they're all there and the pieces are clicking, I mean, this is one of your stronger teams. It's it's hard to kind of place them because I think they just have potential to be really good with the pieces they've got. But you're talking about one of their better performers right now being a rookie, Tyrese Halliburton, and how much do you trust a rookie to be that for you in this kind of league? So
Well, I mean, I will say, I mean, he's been struggling the last couple of weeks, right? And
Mhm.
the Beantown Bombers have still been able to come out with some victories, despite his struggles. You know,
Yeah, yeah, and that's exactly what I mean, right? Like, you got some guys who you got a crew that could kind of step up and kind of fill in your weaknesses, but you still can't hide the weaknesses. Like you still can't kind of cover up the blemishes. But we got to see how health lends itself to this team going forward and going into the playoffs. And if all goes well, I feel like even though it says 8, I mean I feel like they're potentially a lot higher than where I have them. It's just it's kind of like in week 1 we kind of I think we both I think I had them a little higher than you had them, but you
mhm.
know and we both you know collectively dropped them down to somewhere that was a little bit outside of the playoffs. But this is a team that knows what they're doing. So it's it's a clear cut playoff team in my mind.
Yeah, agreed. I've just been impressed with the string of victories and um, you know, the losses that they did have were against some tough teams, right? And some teams which, are serious contenders, right? And this is, despite Christian Wood, despite, KD going through everything that he's going through with the injuries right now. And so my expectation is at least one of the two plays, right? And so if I think one of the two plays, I think they sit firmly in my mind, like where they're at kind of in the standings.
Mhm.
Um, and they've got enough pieces where they can kind of play around and figure out, what fits with depending on what team they've got.
Yeah.
But
The encouraging
it's
the encouraging thing about this team is that I think 8 is actually their floor right now.
mm,
And so that's kind of where I place them, just at their floor, just because of the questions I have about their health. But looking at the standings, right, like you could see how high they can go. They have potential to move up into the top 4 if they need to, right? So you know, you look at things like scheduling and see what's going to happen. I mean, anything can happen from here.
yeah. So next we've got Midtown Moneyman, which has been ascending from the top since the week 1 ranks. Now they're sitting at the 5 spot. Uh, Looks more or less probably the peak at which they'll get to. We both ranked them at 6. They're sitting 5th in the standings. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you look at their schedule coming up, and I think they've I don't know that it's necessarily a walk in the park, but I haven't I can't remember who their matchups are, but I think when I checked it out like a couple of days ago, I think it they have a potential to maybe win a couple, maybe two out of three or something like that.
Definitely won 2 out of 3.
So I think 6 is a good place for them. They've got CJ back.
Mm,
And he's looked like he's coming back into a good place. and then they've got a core of talented guys, and they're gonna, when they first made their move, we were like, "Ooh, like it's gonna be on." But then other people made moves, and it kind of, trumped that. Um, so I'm looking at them. I think we had them at 5. We dropped them to 6. I mean, no love lost. I think we're just looking at certain teams coming up and moving them, sliding them down a little bit. That's all.
All right. Yeah, the money man. I mean, yeah, I mean they're they just happy to be here. At this point, CJ coming back was big, as you pointed out, and I realize I don't really know what this team is because they haven't had everybody together, for a bunch of different reasons. So I remember originally being, um, really intimidated, by this team after they put together the trade. But you know, they stumbled a little bit, for a myriad of reasons. But now it looks like the team is now assembled as they had envisioned. So I'm interested to see where they go.
Yeah,
Definitely.
their roster is definitely in a good place. I mean, they've got a couple of guys who tend to disappear sometimes. Like Robert Covington. He's a guy who's solid and can be really a really good fantasy player, but then he has times where he could just disappear. He's been on my team before. He's been on your team before. We know all about Robert Covington. And then you got guys like Oladipo, who he's in and out the lineup with rest and this and that, and he's potentially going to get traded again. But
That would be great.
yeah, they've got some, and then they've got some other talented guys, but who are on the fringe, right? Like DeRozan. Like, what's going to happen with him? Is he going to get traded? And if so, is that going to affect his value? um, but yeah, everything else is pretty much solid. Just a solid team, and they've got enough depth that if someone does come out and they have to replace somebody, they've got the pieces to do that. So, um, you know, I like where they are. Top 5, top 16.
And sharing the 5 spot, we have the Cranston Killers. So they're right now sitting 6 in the standings. I ranked them at 8. You ranked them at 4. I will say, I think the LeBron James news wasn't considered when you probably ranked the Cranston Killers. But I'll quickly give some thoughts I got on Cranston Killers. Man, they've got a lot of talent, but they've got a lot of volatility with just players' potential to miss time or to just take some time off as far as like contributing productively to a fantasy team. And I don't really see that cohesion. Like this team doesn't have that synergy, and I think it's because of the injury. It's because a lot of the NBA teams that these players play on are just at different places, and so I've got actually the most concern about that team, when it comes to the playoffs, and I think they're really a vulnerable a team. If I had to rank, out of the 8 teams which I see making the playoffs. But I mean, they still have, ridiculous ceiling, because of the talented players they have. But with the LeBron James injury, it's probably safe to say, if he doesn't return by playoffs time, this is a first week bye for whoever plays him.
Yeah, there's a couple of things this team's going to need to do to really finish out their season strong. I did rank them 4th, but that, as you mentioned, that was prior to LeBron James going down. If I had to probably realistically place him. I might go with more of like a number six kind of spot for them. And I say that only because even with the injuries they have, they've got a couple of players that could step in, right? Like DeAndre Hunter actually is back tonight. He's before his injury, he was looking really good. Um, but so they'll be happy to have him back. And then with Trey Young, he's been playing better. He's been solid. Tatum solid. Siakam is stepping back into a good place fantasy wise, I think. You're still concerned about guy. The one concern they have that is probably keeping them. Now remember, this is a team that we had as like we came in raving about this team in the beginning, right? But now with no D'Angelo Russell, no LeBron James, and then Jared Allen kind of falling off a cliff a little bit. For like a few weeks, he was looking really good, and now he's looking like I don't know.
No way he's traded.
Not strong. Yeah, Tice has been mostly overall serviceable and good at times, and then sometimes he's just not there. Um, yeah, I think if injuries don't completely kill this team, um, they'll at least still be a kind of top six, top five type of team. They can be, but as you mentioned, man, the synergy and then the lack of continuity with the team is probably going to be a problem. So I don't uh, I don't blame you for where you're at with them.
Yeah. So next we've got Rucker Park running back up the rankings, right? So we originally in week one, I believe, had him ranked within the top three. Then we quickly brought him back down after seeing them for a couple of weeks. But they addressed some of the weaknesses that they had on the roster, and now they're in tip top shape and top form, and sitting now 8 in the actual standings, and also looking to move up. We were I ranked them fourth, you ranked them fifth. I mean, it's pretty much
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
Yeah, I almost went to four with him, but then I said, only because you look at the last 5 or 6 weeks. He's had taken a couple of bad losses. I think unexpected losses. I think during that time, and this is a team obviously that has all the talent in the world. Um, you know, I I just put them at five just in consideration, but really they're probably they're definitely in the top 14. So I just had to give a little bit more respect to what even teams like Cranston over the past 5 or 6 weeks have done. So um, that's where I'm at with them, but they're easily a top four team in this league.
What do you think Rucker Park Busters odds are to make it past the first round? Do you think it's more than a coin flip? And this is without knowing who they face off in the first round. What odds would you assign them?
I think it's more than likely they will be in the second round. I don't foresee I don't foresee them losing. Um, Anything can happen, obviously, but I think at least in that first round, they're probably most likely going to take care of business. And like I said, I don't want to play them in first round.
Because you know what I'm getting at. You know what that means, right? Like, probably looking at their record, they're sitting right now in 8, right? So the team that's in, say, 6 has got 48 losses. Rucker Park's got 52. He could take over the Cranston Killers, especially with the LeBron James injury.
Yeah.
Who's sitting at 5? We got the Midtown Moneyman. The Midtown Moneyman's got 49 losses. Possibly, for our sake, we'll want him to take over, right? Because if he's at 6, 7, or 8, you know what that means? That is a high probability that either the Gotham Danes, the Solid State, or the Brooklyn Phoenix is facing him in round 1.
Yeah.
And I'll let you know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm avoiding it at all costs.
Yeah.
I'll do whatever it takes.
I'm looking at some gym. I'm going to be planning out some gymnastics real quickly, because I'm not trying to have a first round like that, especially with the injuries I got going on right now.
Yeah, so I mean, it's something to keep in focus. With 3 weeks, to go in the regular season, so that'll be an interesting development.
I hope
so now, huh?
I hope he plays Solid State.
I hope he does for our sakes, man.
I don't want to play him either.
I want no part, man. I mean, and it's not like any of the other teams are any better. Like the one team I definitely want to play is Cranston Killers. Give me Cranston Killers, whatever it takes to play Cranston Killers. But that's going to be a little bit more complex. All right, so now we're moving to our top 3 teams. We got 2 teams that are tied for second. One team moved up in Solid State. One team moving down, my Brooklyn Phoenix. We're both sitting second and third in the standings, and you and I, flip-flopped on the 2-3 rankings.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts? You can give thoughts on both teams.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, I think all 3 of these teams easily could be number 1 in the standings. I think, like, look at Brooklyn Phoenix, and there's no real reason that they're number 3 other than the fact that they dropped a couple that they shouldn't have dropped in the last 6 weeks. So that's really the only reason. But then you look at Solid State, they've got as good of a argument to be number 1 as anybody. It's just a matter of again looking at their past 6 weeks, looking ahead. They're a scary team. They'll be number 1 again, probably by next week. So in the standings, I mean. So this was nothing more for me than me just wanting to be number 1 in the power rankings.
You gotta make yourself 1 at one point in the season,
at
right?
some point I gotta be number 1.
But you certainly earned the number 1 title. I mean, I'll admit I started off by putting my team first, or keeping it at first from week 6 ranks. But then, I started to look at the schedule and what had happened. You can't change the past, right? And the past is what the past is. And my team, as you said, we dropped some matchups that we shouldn't have. And you got to go off based off what you see in the performance. And so I think 3-2, somewhere around there is the right spot. Especially given, the recent loss too. And then Solid State's, is moving. It's just constantly there, man. They just don't stop, man. They just keep jabbing. Like, you want to say, all right, forget about Solid State, but, like Harden just keeps bringing it, right? Remember, folks were so concerned about where he was going to be. And then, Sabonis and how much he was going to be able to facilitate and distribute and give, the fantasy return that folks had often been used to getting from him from last year. And then Collins, right? Collins, seems awakened, since the new coach change in Atlanta. So I mean, this team is it's a team you don't wanna play because they just keep fighting, man. They just keep fighting.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and as you've already alluded, we've got the number one team, the Gotham Great Danes. How does it feel
Yeah, man. We fought.
to be the unanimous number one pick, man?
Yeah, we worked hard for this, man. We've been in the gym. We've been watching film. We've been having a lot of team bonding experiences that have really brought us together. I mean, last week, for example, we had several guys step up and give us real big performances. Sadiq Bey with my young boy giving me a 28 and 10 game. Tobias Harris was on point last week, except for Sunday. Julius Jokic was wheeling and dealing. I mean, he was looking excellent coming into this matchup. Was hitting clutch threes and all type of stuff he was doing on the court, man. And Kyrie was balling out as usual. So we happy with the production that we've gotten, especially from our young guys like Darius Garland. Also, let me give him a shout out. Robert Williams too was really impressive in at least 2 out of the 3 games he played last week. So yeah, I think with him having, especially with having Embiid out, our MVP candidate, for us to go out and perform the way we did last week, and not only last week, but even in the games that he missed in the previous week, we're just happy. We've got Mitch Robinson coming back. Hopefully in another week we'll have Malik Beasley back, and then maybe even the week after that, maybe Embiid will be back after that. So I'm looking forward to these next 3 weeks. Not necessarily this week, but the next few weeks coming up. And I think we should be able to finish out the season at least on a positive note. I don't expect to be in the top seed position coming out into the playoffs, but I'm just happy to have gotten there, and it really shows what our ceiling is. So, I'm happy. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, man, the Gotham Danes, man, the true heroes, right? Like, they've, kind of seen it all, right? Management, making it happen, right? Recognizing that, the roster that they came into the season with is not necessarily the roster that was gonna, bring home the success that they were longing for. And so, bringing home, MVP candidate Embiid, to the Gotham Danes has certainly changed the trajectory of that team. There's not many losses, in your calendar since that trade, and despite him going down, I mean, you guys are still able to win a couple gritty matchups, and so I mean, it just speaks to the roster that you've built and developed, around him, because that's the other thing, you can't lose sight of, is the patience for some players that have, slower starts, and, having the vision to know that, they're going to be ready, as the season progresses. So, dangerous team. Certainly not a team that anybody wants to see in the playoffs. Won a past championship, 2 championships at that. So,
Get my ring soon. I'm getting my
you
ring.
know, folks know your name. Folks know the game. And it's gonna be real interesting, man, as we gear up, for these playoffs. And with that said, let's conclude the power ranks, and let's jump into the week 13 preview.
Right on. Yeah, week 13 is already begun. I think looking at our picks, it speaks heavily, to what's actually happening right now. But first up, our Gotham Great Danes. Yeah, I don't expect that this matchup is going to turn out any kind of good for me. I mean, we're playing a Solid State who's running on all cylinders right now. They're clicking. Their role players especially are huge contributors. You got the guys like Joe Ingles. I mean, Jay Ingles jingling baby out out Utah, just killing. And I forget who the other guy is that's making some noise on their team. But you don't need much else besides Harden and Sabonis and guys like that. So me again, no Embiid. Kyrie's out for 3 games. Brogdon is not playing tonight. He's in my lineup, and we're depressed. We're depressed this week. I'm just hoping to not get completely blown out in this matchup. So I went with Solid State.
Yeah, the same. I mean, they're just playing really good right now. They've got a lot going. I just noticed in looking at the roster, they added Barton.
Will
he's
Barton.
playing really.
That's
Will
the guy.
Barton.
Yep.
And Mr. White on San Antonio. Like that guy has been on fire the last couple of games. So he's really dangerous, especially because they're trying to move on from the veterans, right? So the time and opportunity is really opening up for him. This team is even a little bit more dangerous than I had originally given credit for. And Holmes is playing great. I mean, he's holding me down in one league. So that's definitely a person I lost track of that's on this roster. So
yes.
Yeah, I think it's Solid State.
That's what I'm saying. Them role players, Holmes, Jingling, Barton. Yeah, I mean they've got a fully loaded squad, man. Derek White, they're looking good. Amherst and Dame Stop. Yeah, I we've talked extensively about Dame Stop. You just came off a 3-6 loss to Dame Stop. I came off of a loss for.
Why you gotta remind the people, man? Go let them watch the previous episode, man.
I lost to Dame Stop.
Man. Did not bring any more attention.
If you don't win this matchup, then I'm confused. So I'm going with Dame Stop.
Same here. Yeah. Easy.
Beantown and Midtown. We're gonna run to town tonight. I'm going Beantown Bombers. Not that I feel like the Money Men can't win this matchup. I'm looking at how Beantown's been performing this last few weeks, and then he's got Christian Wood back playing well. I think he has a couple of games advantage in this matchup too. So I'm just gonna run with them.
Yeah, I think the money's getting a little bit funny, man. people moving it towards crypto, man. And
Counterfeit.
bombs is bombs is being dropped on the money, man, and they're just gonna have to take some time and figure it out. But yeah, not enough firepower. Beantown is rolling.
Indeed.
Give me Beantown as well.
Yeah. Next matchup, Cranston Killers and Bimtown Celtics. Yeah, I just don't think with the LeBron James injury and you know what's my man's name? The snitch. What's his name?
D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, just D'Angelo Russell. He's not there again, but they're both in the lineup and thriving in the lineup as well. So, no contributions from them. They're gonna be playing this matchup 6-on-8.
Tatum missed today too.
Tatum didn't play. Yeah, I mean, things like that can't happen against a team like Bimtown, and you don't walk away and able to talk about the matchup after that. Like you heading for a loss, brother, with that one.
Yeah, this is total disrespect right now. Bimtown is expected to be up 30 to 20 games against Cranston Killers. I mean, no way, man, no way. Give me Bimtown as well.
Brooklyn Phoenix, one of the best, takes on one of the worst, and I don't foresee any upsets happening in this week. So
nah,
yeah,
man, we'll turn in our letters if if we lose this matchup, man. That would just be a complete disgrace.
Agreed.
Give me Phoenix as well.
Titanes de San Juan takes on Grit.
Give me Rucker Park. I couldn't afford it.
That was an inside joke. We won't explain it. But yeah, give me blouses on this one. I'm going with the Titans. They just all I see is purple when I think about purple, and I think about the pancake skit on Chappelle. I just can't. I don't see anything else happening. But Prince coming through with saying pancakes. Anybody? I need those guys. They got Utah Jazz, the most disrespected team in the NBA right now, and 4 of them players play on this team. Three players, 4 players. I can't remember. They got a bunch of guys from the Utah Jazz on this team, and they're coming out for blood. They're tough. True Grit is sliding, continue to slide in the standings.
And I know what else is wrong with their lineup. They got 2 New York Knicks starting, and it's not named Julius Randle or Mitch Robinson.
Are you talking about Noel and who's the other guy?
Alec Burks.
Well, they've been playing well, man. They've been don't disrespect my Knicks, man. Don't disrespect the Noel and Alec Burks. They've been some
You
great.
know what?
These last few games. So
you know what? I thought you was being a homer, and I'm looking at the stats right now. Yeah, and Alec Burks. Yeah, he's been solid. So
he's been solid.
My apologies, Mr. Burks.
Yeah, but even still, I don't think that's enough to play against San Juan to beat San Juan. So let's move on. F-17, Frankfurt flying out to Rucker Park, man.
It's gonna be a close one, man. I think Rucker Park is certainly gonna win this matchup, but Frankfurt 17ers, as long as his players are playing, they're dangerous. And so let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
Tell you what, man. I think if Frankfurt don't bring their A game, they're gonna get blown out. Period.
Mhm.
But they can't come with this seesaw stuff this week. They gotta bring it. I don't know who they have in the lineup this week, but Pat Williams, if he's in the lineup, he needs to play. And Lonzo Ball, he needs to play. He can't disappear again. And DeAndre Ayton, enough said. I'm going Rucker Park with this one.
Yeah, I'm going Rucker Park too, man.
NYK takes on the Kings. If everybody was healthy, I think this would actually be a really good matchup. But I
gotta go. Let me see what the Kings put out there. I didn't actually check. I just remember Steph Curry probably not playing this week, and we got LaMelo.
Yeah, LaMelo gone.
For the season.
Gone. I know that's just depressing right there to say those words, but yeah, I think Steph Curry's in the lineup. But Bam is back, and
yeah,
he's been playing well. Beal is still there. Hopefully, he doesn't burn himself out. But I don't know.
It's too much.
I don't know.
It's too much firepower on that other side, man.
I see Aaron Gordon in the lineup, and he might do something. I don't know. Probably not though. I'm going NYK. I just I just think they have a stronger chance of winning at this point with Russell Westbrook, with Fred VanVleet, with Nikola Vujic. It's just not that much to think about. Kristaps Porzingis. I mean,
yeah,
I think you say those 4 names alone, and it's
Kings Landing. Watching March Madness. It's the end.
Agreed.
It's the end of the road.
Well, it's getting late. This is being taped on a Monday night. We're now going to come to an end. Give us your thoughts on the power rankings. Let us know what you feel, how you feeling. We're here for you. We're here to listen. Come to some office hours. Let us talk to us about what you're thinking, and leave us a comment, leave us a like. Give your boy some love. We putting in some work right now to make sure you know where your place is in this league, and know that we care about you. We're here for you.
Yeah, we're here, man. And we've got our tutors. If you need some extra assistance or some guidance, and some different models to look at, to figure out a way to shape your organization. We've got that. Talk to us.
Yeah. One more reminder: trade deadline's coming up on the 26th. I think that is on Friday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah, we want to see some trades happen, man. We want to see. We got three luxury tax teams currently. I'd like to see, if some moves are going to be made to either by these luxury tax teams trying to get under the cap, or some contenders who maybe want to run into the luxury tax to try to make a run at the for the trophy, or maybe just some team in the middle trying to increase their chances and do a little bit better in the standings, or give themselves a better chance in playoffs. It's a good opportunity. I think I hope everyone is communicating and hope we see something big happen before the deadline passes. But until then, you guys enjoy your week. Talk to you then. Peace.
Peace.